This week, we take a look at a young musician from Niagara Falls who spends his time performing for seniors and inspiring others. And February has been the coldest month so far this year. The Waterloo region offers a hot spot for those trying to escape the cold this winter. Plus, sex education policies in Ontario are changing. We take a look at the current controversy that has some parents very upset.
I'm Erin Anderson.
And I'm Josh Horsley, and this is Spoke TV, your source for local weekly news produced by second-year journalism broadcasting students from Conestoga College.
Winter may have had a mild start, but the season has escalated to below freezing temperatures, causing many issues for the region's homeless population. Reporter Leah Johansson looks into how some centers are creating safe places for residents to warm up.
It has been the coldest February ever in the region of Waterloo. Many of us are bundling up a lot more and staying inside this winter, but for some that's not an option. Homelessness is still a big issue in the region, and the weather is hitting everyone very hard this year. Environment Canada has already issued 7 extreme cold warnings this year. That's qualified when the wind chill is below -30 and the cold becomes a danger to human health. Gary Stevens uses the centers around the region to warm up on cold days. He says the weather has never been worse.
I think it's the worst February I can remember. I always thought January was bad. February just has been a nightmare.
When temperatures dip below -30, anyone is welcome to come into one of these warming centers offered by the region of Waterloo. The region provides over 60 warming centers throughout the region and its townships. Brandy Beavis with the region of Waterloo Public Health says they've adjusted protocols to meet this year's extreme weather demands.
But when we have extreme cold warning after extreme cold warning after extreme cold warning like we have recently, we just keep them open because really the temperatures are not getting to a comfortable state, and it's just a little confusing when you have media release after media release after media release. So we've just kept them open since February 12th. So it's been a very cold winter.
Luckily, spring officially arrives on March 20th, but Environment Canada is saying it will still be at least mid or the end of April before we see warmer weather. Keeping it cool for Spoke TV, I'm Leah Johansson.
The region of Waterloo has seen its share of heavy snowfall so far this winter, but unfortunately for some residents, the snow-ridden sidewalks may not just be frustrating for pedestrians, but also for property owners who could end up being fined.
Some Kitchener residents are getting heated after being threatened with a hefty fine from the city for not adequately shoveling their sidewalks. The City of Kitchener has a requirement for sidewalks to be shoveled to the bare concrete by property owners. And since most snowblowers don't remove that much snow to refrain from damaging the sidewalks, many residents who rely on their snowblowers could be facing fines of up to $500. Sidewalks are required to be cleared within 24 hours of a snowfall, and owners are issued an order to clear the path before a fine must be paid.
If you've ever thought about growing your own garden, or you just want to know more about local and organic food, Spoke TV's Lauren Weiler has you covered.
Buying or growing organically may be uncommon in Canada, but it is becoming more frequent in the Waterloo region. The Sustainable Food System Dialogue is a speaker series that talks about Canadian agriculture and the organic food in the KW area. A lot of people are starting to gear towards more natural and organic foods that are grown locally. Kim Fellows, coordinator at Seeds of Diversity Canada, explains the purpose of these dialogues.
I organized this speaker series to try and address 2 facets of food. So the first one is I'm trying to organize speakers who can explain or give us a little bit of insight into Canadian agriculture. So how is food grown? You know, what happens here in Canada, in our farmlands? And then the second facet is to focus on the incredible resources that we have here.
Local farmers and residents of the region join these dialogues to educate themselves on how to grow organically, as well as learning the benefits it has. Both organic and local foods are eco-friendly for the environment, but knowing the difference is also important when shopping for your groceries. Angie Koch, farmer and owner of Fertile Ground Farm, explains the difference between local and organic.
Local is basically a distribution system, so it has to do with where food is grown and how far it traveled before it was purchased. And organic is a production system, so it has to do with how the food was grown.
For Spoke TV, I'm Lauren Weiler.
Construction on Kitchener's light rail transit system has begun, and as a result, the region is expecting some traffic delays. King Street will be facing some serious closures all the way down to Fairview Mall. Reporter Devin Flynn gets an update on the current status of the LRT development.
A new light rail transit system is coming to the Waterloo region. The Ion Rapid Transit System will be built on existing lines in addition to having its own dedicated rails. It will be running from Waterloo to Kitchener and eventually to Cambridge. In 2009, Waterloo Regional Council approved light rail transit as the technology for rapid transit. This stirred strong feelings on both sides for the debate. City Councilor Bill Ioannidis noted that not only will the ION system reduce greenhouse emissions associated with conventional travel, but will also create a boom to the local economy and infrastructure.
Another factor is you're going to see the region transform into an urban core all along the corridor of the LRT. So you're going to see some protection from our farmlands. So that's the other portion of the environmental factor.
City Councilor Bill Ioannidis says that the LRT will bring in big business, but what do local shopkeepers think?
And the fees associated with using the LRT is basically going to be a money grab. And the region will do what they want to do. No matter who protests, in the end, they do what they want to do.
Although valid points have been made on both sides, construction for the ION system has begun, and numerous signs can be seen around the region promising to be future ION stops. For Spoke TV, I'm Devin Flynn.
This week, Spoke TV went global for the first time ever to take a first-hand look at the effects of homelessness in Colombia. Reporter Paula traveled to the capital to get the story.
It's New Year's Eve in Bogota, Colombia. While many people are getting ready to spend that night with their families, Carlos Enrique is alone on the streets. The last thing his family wants is to see him. Carlos Enrique is a drug addict, and this is his story. How often do you use drugs, Carlos?
Every day. Everything I get is for drugs. All the money I get is for drugs. Everything. One becomes a slave to this. When you wake up, your body asks for it. I always wake up without energy, and only when I do drugs do I feel relieved and ready to work. It's a plague. It's like the worst curse.
But his life hasn't always been this way. In fact, he used to have a reputable job in a hospital right in the heart of the city. So how did he go from being respectable to becoming a drug addict?
My friendships led me to alcohol and drugs. It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday just drinking with my friends. I used to drink a lot. It went from there to here before I could realize I was already trapped in this.
Carlos Enrique is not unique. He's just one of the many homeless people battling drug addiction in Bogota. Although the city spends 15 billion pesos just in rehab, the efforts don't seem to add up. Around 9,000 street dwellers have tried hallucinogens in the past year, but only 87 have been rehabilitated. The results are shockingly depressing, considering that an official census estimated that in Bogota, 94% of the 9,614 inhabitants of the city have admitted to consuming some kind of drug. For Carlos, this is a hopeless reality that he deals with every day. But there was a day when he hit rock bottom. It was the day when his brother died of a drug overdose in front of him. The same brother that he introduced to drugs.
He fell deep into drugs from seeing me do drugs. He lost the control in 12 years of his life. He died on me right there, very close to here, in front of a photocopy store. He was getting high. He tried too much and he died. We went to the hospital. He was in a coma, so many machines around him. I stayed for the prayer, but I couldn't handle more, so I left. I feel lonely. It should have been me.
For Carlos, drug addiction might seem hard to overcome, but there are those who have. It's a house that very few would differentiate from the rest on this picturesque street of Bogota. But for those who enter without hope and leave with a plan for the future will never forget this house. Hogar Renacer is one of the many shelters or rehab facilities funded by the government to help battle drug addiction in the city. Their staff director, Ruben Cordovas Campos, explained the services the shelter provides.
Clothes, healthy food, healthcare, Group talks for them and their families. Psychologists.
For Eliezer Bravo's only goals were to make enough for his daily dose. After taking the program, his goals have taken a different direction, a more meaningful one.
My aspirations are to start living life for the first time, get my job back, and reconnect again with society. Not so much to prove others, but to prove myself that I can do it. If you can't prove yourself, you can change, you will fall again.
Life is all about making decisions. Will Carlos give himself a second chance, or will he die like his brother? We'll never know. For Spoke TV, I'm Paula Sierra.
Cambridge reading enthusiasts are in for a treat now that renovations are underway for a new digital library. Reporter Candice Agunde has the story.
The former Galt Post Office in downtown Cambridge is undergoing an $11 million restoration and renovation. The plans for the 130-year-old three-story building include a teen center in the basement, a restaurant on the main floor, a terrace overlooking the Grand River, and a digital learning lab on the third floor.
It's going to be probably the first true digital library in Canada. So there'll be some books, but it mostly will be around digital concepts in terms of people using different things throughout the library, children, and so on.
The project is being pushed as a library and center for learning, but with a large restaurant on the main floor, many people are worried that the building will focus more on food and drink. But those involved in the project say that their plan is to transform the building from the more traditional uses of a library to the kind of library that we'll see in the future. And this includes a space where people can eat, mingle, and learn.
Well, the roles of libraries are changing. If we don't keep up, they're going to become irrelevant. The idea is that when you're there, you'll have access to the cafe, and you'll be able to have a meal as you read a book or as you do digital stuff, and we're focusing a lot on learning.
Aside from the relaxed learning environment that the eatery will help to create, Councillor Ermetta also says that the restaurant is being included to cover the operating costs of the building, as it will act as a tenant that pays rent to the city. For Spoke TV, I'm Candice Agunde.
Ontario has a new sexual education curriculum that is causing some controversy amongst parents due to the nature of the content and early ages it will be taught to. Reporter MappedIn explores the new plan and how the region has reacted.
It's time to talk about sex. Ontario kids will be learning about the birds and the bees as young as 6 years old with the new, updated sex education curriculum.
Many curricula suggest strategies for introducing concepts at an appropriate age. For example, talking about sexual abuse to a kindergarten class would most likely be what is inappropriate touching and how to report it.
Jess Crow, a former sex educator who now works at Bliss Therapy, tells us the importance of learning the new sex ed curriculum at a younger age.
I actually think it's really important that kids are taught it at an earlier age, especially things around anatomy. So there's lots of research that indicates when kids know proper terminology for their body, especially like vulva, vagina, penis, they're at a reduced rate of being sexually abused or sexually assaulted.
Francesca Giorgio, mother of 6, feels that the new curriculum is teaching kids too young.
I think it opens doors for maybe other people that want to do something wrong. They'll think they have the right to just because, hey, they're learning about it, I'm just teaching them type thing. I just think someone might take advantage of an early learning thing like that.
The new curriculum will be teaching grade 1s nonverbal signals and body parts, bullying and sexting in grade 4 and 5, and STIs and oral sex in grade 7 and 8. The new curriculum will start in all classes, including Roman Catholic schools, in September. For Spoke TV, I'm MappedIn.
Global positioning systems, or more commonly called GPSs, have become more and more popular in the last decade and have become a heavily relied upon gadget for both business and leisure-related driving. Reporter Christina Zavanovic explores MappedIn, a new form of GPS that focuses on indoor navigation.
Getting from here to there couldn't be easier with 3D turn-by-turn navigation. Since 2011, MappedIn has grown from 3 founding university students to a team of 19 employees with the goal of simplifying the indoors. University students struggling to find their way around campus came together to design a platform for indoor mapping and navigation. MappedIn technology has helped customers navigate indoor areas by providing them with turn-by-turn instructions from interactive kiosks and mobile devices. Information is instantly updated about the venue, change of location, and edited marketing content found from any modern browser. Already existing building floor plans are used to create realistic 3D models that customers can view to get to their desired location. Hung Luay, the co-founder of MappedIn, shares how this technology compares to modern picture maps.
So we always say that our mission is to help businesses manage, deliver, and analyze indoor spatial data so that when they have this gigantic facility, we want to build something that makes it easier and they don't have to throw it away.
Ease of access gives drawn pathways which avoid walls, doors, and other obstacles so that the optimal route is displayed and can be customized according to the venue to meet specific needs. Craig Walsh at the Conestoga Mall shares his thoughts on how this technology has helped their customers.
Yes, they have. Every day we walk by this MappedIn unit and it's used all the time. And every time we come up and ask the customers, is everything okay? You guys need any help using it? They say, no, this is very user-friendly.
For Spoke TV, I'm Christina Zavanovic.
And now for a look at sports and entertainment, here's Jeff Pickle.
Thanks, Josh. The Kitchener Rangers may not be able to make a big playoff push this season, but 3 regional Junior B hockey teams look poised to make a deep playoff run. The Elmira Sugar Kings, the Kitchener Dutchmen, and the Waterloo Siskins all finished in the top 4 in the Midwest Junior B Conference.
The Elmira Sugar Kings began their playoffs last Wednesday against the 8th place Brampton Bombers. It was clear from puck drop that Elmira was the better team, but the Bombers were able to hang around due to some spectacular goaltending. Bombers goalie Shane Dettel stopped 52 of 55 shots, but it wasn't enough as the Sugar Kings went on to win 3-1. Elmira then smashed Brampton 10-2 on Friday night before winning a close game 3-2 on Sunday night. Elmira will look to close out the series Tuesday night at home.
Grace and creativity may not be common terms in the masculine world of male sports, but as reporter Paula discovered, one male athlete will not let stereotypes define him.
Recently gold winner of the OUA Championship, Francis Adamo is the only male figure skater of the Guelph Griffons team, and this has given him a unique perspective of his role.
You got to feel very fortunate that you're doing something that very few other people do. Like, I'm one of very few people in my role in, when it comes to university skating and skating as a whole. So I just consider that, and I really take pride in that I'm doing something very unique and something that very few people do.
Adamo was looking to cap up his career by winning back-to-back OUA figure skating championships for the Griffons. Adamo outshined the competition, winning gold in the men's open skate and helping Guelph to a second-place finish on home ice. Mackenzie Wilson, who finished in first the pairs fours, explains what the young team can build for next year.
From there, we just recognize where we can grow, and we have lots of places that we can grow and lots of things that we can work on for next year, and I think just keeping that in mind as we move on.
For Adamo, this was an ideal way to go to the top.
This is literally my last competition ever. So that's, probably spanning since I was, 10 or 11 when I started out in the very first level competitions, and it's just really the perfect way to end it off.
The next step for Adamo is to hopefully get into Dalhousie for a diploma of meteorology. For Spoke TV, I'm Paula Sierra.
The typical grade 6 boy doesn't know much about having the blues, but that hasn't stopped 11-year-old Miles Boland from singing the blues. Reporter Josh Horsley tells us about the amazing story of a young man and his dad who have created a unique musical bond.
For a lot of people, performing in front of an audience is a terrifying nightmare. But for 11-year-old Miles Boland, it's a common occurrence. Miles has been performing at senior homes with his dad since he was 3 years old.
I remember he just had an interest to just come with me and start singing with me, and so I just said, hey, come on up and we'll see what happens up on stage. And of course he comes up, and as you'll see on the video, what he was able to do. He just loved to be a performer and just get up there and start singing, and just followed me and watched what I did, and that's how it all started.
Miles has learned a lot over the years and has become quite the performer, going from this to this. even featured on his dad's latest CD.
Well, the newest CD we have is called A Walk in Harmony. And I think that's the best part about it, that just within the last year, he started singing harmonies with me. Just started singing these notes that blended with my singing, and I was surprised to see, because it's not something that I taught him, it's just something he just had a gift is for the ear of music, and so he just started singing harmonies.
Oh, well, I really enjoyed doing that, and I think it's really neat to be able to have a CD that I'm on. Yeah, I never thought that would happen, but yeah, I think it's pretty neat.
Performing with his dad isn't the only musical exposure Miles gets either. He has already taken 4 years of piano and also practices guitar as well. And even though Miles can't go out with his dad as much now that he's in school, the seniors still love seeing the duo together.
Brad is simply perfect here. He's one of the ones we like best, actually. And then getting a son too, that was really a plus today.
Because he's so young and talented, and that's what I saw first. And his father's not bad either. In fact, he's good looking. Someone's going to steal both of them.
The two of them perform songs from the 50s and 60s that make the seniors feel at home.
My favorite song would have to be, well, they're all pretty good. I like playing them all. But the one that I like the most would have to be Act Naturally by Buck Owens. You probably don't know that song, but I like it and it's good.
And both father and son agree that performing with each other is what is really special.
Just the fact of having your son up on stage singing and looking at you as he's singing, tapping his toes, and just giving all he's got up on stage, that's what's kind of neat to see that, because it doesn't happen that often where a son will want to do that with his dad. So
my favorite part about playing with him out is probably just being able to do something that we both enjoy, and it's only me that does it, none other than my siblings.
You can see Miles and Brad play at the nearest old folks home in Niagara Falls, or you can grab their CD from bradbolenentertainment.com. For Spoke TV, I'm Josh Horsley.
Thank you.
That's all we have for you this week. For Spoke TV from Conestoga College, I'm Josh Horsley.
And I'm Erin Anderson. For more news and information, visit spoketv.ca.